Cultural Recipe Book from the International Education and Resource Network, or iEARN USA, examined and reported by Joseph Aldrin Cometa Ganibo. Background of the lesson. Cultural Recipe Book is said appropriate to age level 5 to 11 and 12 to 14. The subject areas covered by this lesson are social studies, English and language arts. This project plan aimed to promote cultural development and respect among the students. Students research the recipes of typical food dishes in their countries, as well as the origin of the ingredients and recipes and the legends and stories behind them. The teacher's goals of the lesson are the following: to promote cultural development, respect among the students, to tie in with the social studies curriculum, to promote appreciation of the students' ethnic backgrounds, and to have a cultural celebration. The students' goals of the lesson are the following: to appreciate their own background, to learn other cultural backgrounds, to learn the historic perspective of specific cultures, and to develop a cultural recipe book. The curriculum standards of the cultural recipe book lesson cover reading, writing, and speaking. Assessment of projects and class interest. Motivation to the students is to be done through giving of initial description of the cultural recipe book and the inclusion of food celebration. Aside from the subject teacher, the advisor of the students as well as their computer instructor will be notified about the project. Lastly, the help of the librarian is necessary. Where could the students get the background knowledge of the content of their cultural recipe book? Number one, from their family members. Then, with the help of the school library and related books. And lastly, through the internet. Timetable of the lessons for cultural recipe book. Number one, it will be done on weekly basis. The teacher in charge of the project could only meet the students every Tuesday. However, it is advised that the students should do their project in their free time. Number two, survey as introductory part. In here, the teacher will ask the students about the places their families are originally from. Number three, introduction of iEARN. The students will know that their project could reach other learners around the globe. Number four, incorporating the project with the curricula, particularly English and language arts, as well as social studies. Number five, identifying the knowledge of the students about the project. In here, how to write recipe, the step-by-step process of putting together the ingredients will be done. And there will also be a presentation of the individual output. Number six, lastly, the project cultural recipe book is due before the Thanksgiving celebration. Here are my feedback and comments about the lesson plan of the cultural recipe book. First, let's talk about the positive or the good ones. 1. Food is a very interesting topic. 2. The project is appropriate for the age level of the learners. 3. The unit plan is commendable for it has teacher goals, student goals, as well as curriculum standards. 4. Collaboration with other teachers and units in the school is available in the project. Number 5. Family serves as the main source of information about the project. School library and the internet were mentioned as secondary sources of information about the recipes. 6. Research skills will be developed more in this project. 7. The project will serve as one of the bases for shared understanding among themselves or the learners. And 8. There will be a concrete output, the cultural recipe book. I also observe unnecessary things in the lesson plan of the said project. 1. The availability of the teacher in charge in this project is questionable, since the teacher is a reading cluster teacher 1. There are so many things that the teacher is bound to do. Next, the timetable of the project is vague. There is no definite day, week, or month mentioned in the plan. And last, the assessment of the project is indefinite. There is no concrete rubric for the assessment of the project. Here are my suggestions for the adaptation of the topic in our local setting. The topic is appropriate for any grade level in our system of education. It can be done by primary schoolers, intermediate pupils, junior high schoolers, senior high school students, as well as the students in the tertiary level. Instead of using countries as point of comparison, native dishes from different municipalities and provinces where the students and their family came from will be the basis of the sources of recipes they will prepare. The project could be associated with subjects like English, Filipino, Araling Panlipunan, TLE, and Humanities. Aside from their own family, other great sources of information about their chosen recipe to prepare are their other kin, the municipal tourism and DTI offices, local delicacies centers, and of course, the elders. Timetable for this project adaptation should be with a maximum period of 1 month. The project will serve as one of the performance tasks of the pupils or students selected. Rubric to use is with regards to the following: content, correctness and completeness of the recipe, clarity, the manner of oral and written presentations, and lastly, creativity, the overall appeal and layout of the project. The final output will be the compilation of the recipe passed by the students. Productive work will be still the same. The project will be done individually. Oral presentation is needed for thorough sharing of output. And lastly, the recipe or the cultural recipe book final output should be available at the school library. And that's it for my examination and reporting. Once again, I am Joseph Aldrin Cometa Ganibo, and thank you for dropping by.